What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the M16A1. Just want to get into a little bit of history, what exactly makes this rifle unique in its own way, and definitely do some shooting as we are at a gun range. So getting into a little bit of history, the M16A1 is a derivative of the AR-15. It was formally adopted as the US Army's main service rifle in 1969, pretty much at the height of the Vietnam War, which is where you guys are most familiar with this style of rifle. So right here I have a pretty nice example of an M16A1 clone, and this is going to make a good sample for us to go over. So the M16A1 is an updated version of the original M16. The main features that changed are the inclusion of a fenced magazine release. We have a forward assist right here, which a lot of people hate. And then we have a chrome line barrel. There are a few more differences, but those are going to be the main ones that people talk about when comparing the original M16 to the M16A1. So taking a look at this specific rifle, it is clone correct mostly. I have a full-length solid buttstock right there. I have a Vietnam-era Bakelite A1 pistol grip. And then obviously I have the triangular heat shields. And I even have the A1 style dust cover. So the only thing that doesn't make this rifle exactly clone correct is going to be the flash hider. So right here we have a 3-prong flash hider, and the M16A1s usually had a birdcage. They did have specific M16 slings, but mostly you'd see them with these Garand slings. And I really like the look, so that's why this specific rifle has an M1 Garand sling on it. So just to paint a pretty picture, I do have an original Vietnam-era Colt 20-round magazine. So I do have the 20-round magazine, but I'm mainly going to be using USGI surplus 30-rounders. They're mostly OK Industries. There are a couple little unique ones in there, but I'm going to be shooting an FRT, and 30 rounds is way more fun than 20 rounds. All right, so getting into loading procedure, I have my little can of 5.56 right here. Specifically, it's M193 ball ammo because it's fucking cheap. And we have a couple stripper clip loaders. Sadly, I just have this Maglula one. This is a 10-round loader. And then I do have this 3D printed stripper clip loader right there. One of them fell out. I'm just gonna put that back. And then we can go ahead and we'll start it like that. And just to get the full experience, we'll use this loader like so. Whoops, I got my fucking thumb in there. I'm not redoing that. You guys are just gonna have to stick with the blooper on that one. I actually prefer this little 10-round Maglula one because it actually clips into the cutouts on the magazine, so I don't have to like hold it in place while I'm actually throwing the rounds on. I'm just gonna have it like that. It is 10 rounds at a time, but honestly I prefer this. All right, we got our 10 rounds in there. Flip this little puppy over and you just press down. Just flip that little. Very beautiful, fully loaded 30-round magazine. Perfect. All right, guys, so I have a 10-inch steel plate set up over there about 75 yards away. So let's go ahead and see if I zeroed this thing right last time I was shooting. That's a hit. Too low. Hit. Oh. Hit. So I got to aim a little high. Not too bad, considering this wind is kind of messing my contacts up. Not an excuse, I'm just saying. You guys can have your own opinion on that. All right, guys, so I got my trigger set up. We have a fresh Vietnam-era 20-round magazine. So we'll go ahead and see what this thing can do for real. Ready? Not too bad. All right, got my meta glasses on just so I can get a little bit of first-person footage for you guys. So give it another go. All right, got my meta glasses on just so I can get a little bit of first-person footage for you guys. So let's give it another go. Oh, it almost got away from me for a second there. All right, guys, this is going to be my last magazine for the day. I've eaten through a lot of my 5.56. I got a bunch of M855, but I really only shoot M193 because it's cheaper and I really don't feel like digging into my green tips. So this is probably going to be the last M16 video for you guys for a minute. So I hope you guys enjoyed and happy shooting.
What? Well, you're blowing away all your ammunition, spaghetti. Mr. I Hate American's gonna make you into Swiss cheese.